Welcome to After the Poll, the video series where I take you through the worlds of Marvel, DC, and Independent and talk about a classic comic and share all my thoughts and opinions with you, except those newest number ones. If you guys want to check that out, you gotta check out Worthy Ones, which takes place every Thursday. Guys, I'm Mike Spider Slayer. Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. If you love daily comic book content, you like me helping you make decisions on what comic books to buy, and you've been watching for a while and you have not hit that subscribe button, guys, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button now. So with that being said, it is a very small comic book week. I don't think we're going to have too long of an episode, but I still think we're going to have some fun. So guys, let's buckle in and let's get started. Welcome to the world of Marvel Comics, and we had 4 Marvel Comics to discuss this week, and coming in at number 4 goes to Battleworld issue 2. Now, it's not a bad issue just because it comes in at number 4. I just kind of like the other issues better than this. And what this book is about is a battle world that is constructed of Korvac, and instead of the worlds being in different pieces, it's misplaced heroes from different times, and they're forced to survive. So what do they have to do to survive? Well, of course, they would have to fight against each other, right? And in the last issue, you're led to believe, obviously, that Arcade is behind the whole thing because he has Murder World in place, and now our heroes are I guess, forced to go against Arcade in this particular issue. There was lots of action in here, some cool fights in here as well, and I think the character that really shined in this particular issue was Hank Pym. I think he was the one that kind of used his intelligence to win the battle in this issue, and I thought it was actually kind of cool. So, you know, this book at the end of the day wasn't like the best book I ever read, but it was entertaining enough to continue reading it, and it left you with a pretty cool cliffhanger with a character that I don't think I've ever really read about. So I don't know, we'll see where we go with the next issue. Coming in at number 3, we have Emma Frost, White Queen. This is issue 5. Now, this is the conclusion to the series. When it comes to this title, there was the Hellfire Club that wanted the White Queen off the board. And it was Emma's job to figure out, okay, well, how do I outsmart these characters? Or how do I outsmart these people? And she's forced to try to find the traitor, the one that's called her out. And let's just say there is a double cross in this book. And I do love how Emma is so cunning and so smart and so confident. And that's what makes her the great character that she is in the comics. So I think that the writer here kind of nailed that. And we go to this astral plane that was really cool as well, as you do get to see 2 players playing chess against each other and who's going to win and who's going to lose. So this was a very entertaining issue. I really enjoyed this series overall, and this is one of those diamond in the rough kind of comic books, no pun intended, where you had a X-Men solo series and it was actually good. Coming in at number 2, we have All New Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider issue 3. So this is a book that is just kind of amping up, right? This is continuing Alpha Stephanie Phillips' last run of Spider-Gwen, where she had the Cosmic Cube and all kinds of other stuff. Now she most recently got all her powers wiped away, and she's basically just Spider-Gwen again. There has been these mystery murders that have been happening, and we do find out in this issue what this thing actually is. Now, if you followed Spider-Gwen since Volume 1, you could clearly find out that it is a symbiote. And it's not a surprise here. It's a spider book. There's going to be a symbiote. But what I like about this book is that it's very dark, it's very gruesome. The narration by Gwen in this book is actually really cool because it describes what the symbiote actually is and how it takes over its host, and it's when someone feels really down and at their weakest point, that's when the symbiote really feeds. So that was actually really, really good, and I give a lot of credit here for Stephanie Phillips for writing a really nice book. And so this was my favorite issue of the series so far, so I'll be definitely continuing Spider-Gwen Go Spider. But my number one and top pick from Marvel this week, which again, it's a light week, and I'm probably a little bit biased, is Black Cat. This is issue 3. I love Felicia. She's a great character in my opinion. I've loved her ever since the Spider-Man animated series, and every time I read this comic book, I have her voice in my head. I think the artwork, it's absolutely gorgeous in here, and her trying to, I guess, in a way, rediscover herself is kind of challenging. You know, it's like, all right, I want to be this hero. What do I have to do in order to, you know, succeed at that? And you obviously, you know, she's obviously a human being just like you and I, and so she is a relatable character. It's just you always haven't seen it in the comic books, and here she's waking up at 10:30 in the morning, and she wanted to sleep in. She gets a mission at hand, and she winds up going to this particular place where there's like this contraband from another planet that's worth like billions and billions of dollars, and she stops that, and it was kind of cool. There's other characters that are in here, which you would expect Miss Marvel, because she was the one that created Miss Marvel, and she didn't take over the issue. She was just in there for like a couple of pages and whatnot. And then you wind up getting to see a confrontation with like Sandman in here, because he's bringing her to Tombstone because she's flipped sides. And there was also some good character interactions in here between J. Jonah Jameson and Felicia, as well as he's his asshole self publishing, you know, things on the paper, like what was it, what's it called, the something menace in this newspaper article or whatever it is, and I thought it was really good. So I think Black Cat is still establishing itself, but I think it has potential to be a really, really good comic book. So definitely my top pick of the week when it comes to Marvel this week. Welcome to the realm of DC Comics. Oh my gosh, it's so overwhelming when it comes to DC this week. We have one book to talk about. The other book was discussed on Worthy Ones. That was Absolute Batman. I didn't get the Superman Blue and Red, or whatever it was called, a Red and Blue book, and I heard that one was actually pretty good. But the one book we did get this week, and this is obviously by default the top pick from DC Comics, was Batman and Robin Year 1, and this is issue 12, the finale by Mark Waid and Samney. Now, this book was actually really good. It was an awesome wrap-up when it comes to Batman and Robin teaming up, doing battle against Two-Face and Clayface in the book, and it was just all-out action. It's kind of like what you would expect in a finale, and again, Samney's artwork absolutely shines in this comic. This is what's really made the series, you know, and seeing the team up between the dynamic duo is great. And again, it reminds you of the old school days of Batman and Robin. Such a phenomenal issue. Then once we get done wrapping up things when it comes to the action with Harvey Dent and Clayface, then you wind up getting to see Commissioner Gordon establish, you know, Batman and this bat signal and all those other things, and we get to see Bruce Wayne go to court to see if he can get Dick Grayson back in custody once again. And is this me? Is this Uncle Phil? Right? I mean, come on. Every time you look in a comic book, or if you see a judge and it's a balding, bearded African-American man, right? Doesn't it remind you of Uncle Phil? Like, that's what it reminded me of. I was like, oh man, that's funny. So I had Uncle Phil in my mind. Love Fresh Prince, dude. Love that show. But overall, just a phenomenal book, and I am happy to say that this was, a top pick from DC Comics this week, even though it was the only other book I read besides Absolute Batman. Welcome to the realm of the independent comic. Guys, only 2 to discuss this week. Unfortunately, I do love those indies these days. They're absolutely awesome. But we do have 2 to discuss that are pretty darn good. And the first one is going to be Rockefellers. This is issue 10. I was so close to dropping this book. In fact, I was going to drop this book, and I didn't realize that it is on my permanent pull list. So when I got it in my pile, I was like, all right, I'll try one more issue. And the issue I did try focused on the dog, and I'm like, I'm going to continue it because it was really, really good, right? And this issue was really good. So it obviously surrounds Halloween, and upon this recording, I am recording this on Halloween. So happy Halloween, or I should say, hopefully you had a wonderful Halloween as this airs on Monday. One of the webheads out there pointed out that, did you not notice that these characters were dressed as the Ghost Machine characters? And I did not notice that. When I was doing my haul, I just showcased it. I just completely overlooked it. But it is a brilliant cover when you think about it, right? That's Geiger, that's Pranky, Mr. X-Ray, Red Coats, right? Rook right there. Pretty cool stuff, right? All right, enough of that. Let's talk about the story at hand. The artwork continues to deliver, right? And we wind up getting to find out who the sister actually was, her origin story, how she became the character that she was in the last issue. Now the family realizes that she is hot on the trail. And Raina dials in on their location. The kids are so desperate. They we want to go trick-or-treating. We want to go trick-or-treating. And they're like, come on, what's an hour? So the father agrees to have the kids go out trick-or-treating, and then Raina makes her place. There's some great moments in this comic book where we wind up seeing her interact with some trick-or-treaters, and they're like, oh, that's a great costume, that's awesome cosplay, and she's like going back to them, and she's answering their questions in very short answers because she has the MO at hand to go after the family. All the trick-or-treaters in the neighborhood think it's some kind of big time show because she does get the drop, she does find the family, and you wind up seeing this big high-speed chase. This was an absolute awesome issue. You have to find out. You have to read it to find out to see if the family escapes or not. So, yeah, really, really good book. Absolutely enjoyed it. However, the top pick of the week when it comes to the independent comics out of 2 is going to be Feral issue 17. Now, something tells me if there was another few comic books, this might still get the top independent comic of the week because this was a phenomenal issue. We have been getting this Pet City build-up for a few issues now, right? And now, if you read the last issue, you wind up getting to see one of the cats opens the doors to the outside world, and now you get to see all these other cats with the rabies and all this other stuff kind of invade the pet store. And all it does is it causes mayhem in the store. Who survives? Who dies? Who's going to be in charge? I mean, it's absolutely insane. The artwork continues to deliver. Obviously, it has that Disney-like feel, but it's a very dark comic book. This was so entertaining, and it was so suspenseful. It just has you at the edge of your seat from beginning to absolute end, and you will be shocked what happens at the end of this issue. Really, really good book. Like I said earlier, top pick of the week for me when it comes to the indies this week. So now it's that time in the video where we do our pick of the week. And real quick, I'm going to recap the books that I did talk about on Worthy Ones. If you want to see that video in full detail, I'll make sure I'll leave it at the end of this video for you to check out. But the books I did cover on Worthy Ones was Undeadpool. This is issue 1. Excuse me. The next book we talked about was Cloak and Dagger, or Cloak or Dagger issue 1. We talked about The Beauty issue 1. We We did cover a couple issue 2s because, again, it was a smaller week. Voyeur, issue 2. And Robo Wolf, issue 2. And Absolute Batman, this is annual, issue 1. So my favorite number 1, or my favorite book from Worthy Ones, is going to go to actually Robo Wolf, issue 2. So that was my top pick for Worthy Ones. And now it's going to go against Batman and Robin. It's going to go against Black Cat. And it's going to go against Feral, issue 17. Can you guys guess what the top pick of the week is? 3, 2, 1. And it's going to go to, yes, Feral, issue 17. Just an absolute next level comic book for me. Overall, the story is absolutely phenomenal. I will always suggest Feral to be put on your pull list. It's a great read. I'm not going to lie, though. Robo Wolf did get some strong consideration. It was a freaking awesome book. But Feral is, again, next level. And now it's time for the classic realm. And I'm doing my continued coverage on Nightfall. Guys, this time it's March 25th, 1993, and we're talking about Detective Comics issue 659. This is a 32-page comic for the cost of $1.25. So when it comes to this comic, it's the first appearance of Socko. That's right, guys. So this is Nightfall. This is Nightfall. This is part 2. So when it comes to this comic book, here is the cover, in case you guys forgot what it's like, right? And then here is kind of like your interior artwork here. And in this comic book, I thought that this second part was actually a lot better than the Mad Hatter part, because we do have the ventriloquist in this issue, and he is searching for, what's it called? He's searching for Scarface. So what happens is he puts a freaking sock on his hand, and he uses it as his voice of reasoning to try to find Scarface. And then he has this other character with him by the name of, is it Amagdala? I don't know if I say that right, but he's this brute force type of character that actually kind of loses it when he gets angry, and he just kills everybody without force. We get to see kind of like the continued, I would want to say, a little bit of a strained relationship when it comes to Robin and Batman in this issue, because he's always leaving Robin behind to do like these minuscule jobs instead of letting Robin help him. And I think that's kind of going to be the downfall here. And we just get to see the continued beatdown already within the second villain that Batman faces, and he's already ill as it is. So I thought this issue was actually really good. You do wind up seeing, at the end of the day, you wind up seeing Batman prevail, but he does get a big beatdown, and obviously you get Bane lurking in the shadows. So this second part so far was better than that first part, and as I continue my coverage, I'll compare the issues and see which ones I like the best, and seeing Batman's journey towards his decline as Batman until he's broken. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. There you guys have it. There are all my thoughts and opinions on this very small comic book week. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Next week, though, is going to be ginormous, so be prepared. Also, here's your video for Worthy Ones, and if you guys want to enter in a cool contest, check out this unboxing that I got from Mark Spears, and there's also, like I said, a giveaway attached. So you're going to want to check that video out as well to see how you can win some cool stuff. Guys, remember, support the local comic shops, keep buying, keep collecting, but always read your comics so we can have great comic conversation just like we did today. Guys, have a wonderful Monday. I'll see you real soon. Bye.